Hey, Sarah,
Yeah.
do you want to talk about Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah, I guess so.
This is The Gorge. This is a podcast where my friend Sarah and my friend Othar and I talk about a cool topic once a week or so. The Gorge is brought to you by coffee at ko-fi.com/THEGOR. You can give us a few bucks and that really helps out the podcast. So, Sarah, what are we talking about today?
I hope you're proud of yourself, you piece of shit. I hope you are, because I know that this is what you were aiming for when we did this DBZ episode. When we did the first, Fighter Z episode, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, whatever it was, this was exactly what you were shooting for. Your plan, your shitty, nefarious plan, was to go, I'm going to talk really enthusiastically about DBZ and Sara for 2 hours, and then what's going to happen is she's going to be like, maybe DBZ isn't that bad, and she'll go watch it. And then I'll have somebody else to talk about DBZ with, because that's how this friendship has worked for the last 10 years. And it worked.
God, it's true.
Oh, that's exactly how Sarah and I have functioned as a relationship for 10 years.
I know.
So bad.
We are just trading off things that we personally like.
I'm so mad that it worked.
What's weird is that we end up being bigger fans than the originator.
I know. I'm obsessed.
I threw Tails at Sarah, and now Sarah is the Tails person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
I threw Persona at you.
And I've played way more Persona 4 than you have.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
Oh my god. And now here we are.
Can't believe.
Let's put 100 hours into fucking Xenoverse 2.
This podcast, this year's podcast is just us doing cleanup of all the shit we still need to throw at each other, basically.
Oh my god.
You're like, hey Ben, play Chrono Cross, and I'm like, hey Sarah, play Earthbound.
And it's like, hey Sarah, how about the Dragon Ball Z? How about fuck? All right.
At least you had me to help you out with the Dragon Ball shit.
You are a big help. By the way, hey Oates, how are you?
Yeah, Oates is here.
Podcast.
Hi, I'm Oates. Everybody loves me. I'm doing really good.
The third strongest yet again.
Yep.
Because you're the third most featured person on this podcast now.
I think so, yeah.
You are now officially the third strongest yet again. So congratulations.
All right, I'm the number 3 mole.
Yep.
So yeah, we're talking about Dragon Ball Z. We're talking just kind of general, running our mouths about how cool DBZ is, because I guess that's where I am in my life now. I'm almost 30 years old, and I'm like, boy, DBZ was pretty cool when we were kids, huh?
Remember when we were like, boy, I wish DBZ was good, and we watched it, we're like, oh wait, it actually is good.
I think it is still kind of good. It's not great. It's like DBZ is good with an asterisk next to it, you know?
Yeah.
The statement is DBZ is good, and then there's a little asterisk next to it, and then it goes, and then at the bottom of the page it says kinda. If you just give yourself over to it.
If by good you mean fun, then you're
yes, that's what it is.
That came out in the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's still pretty great, and I hate it.
A little bit.
So what are we all talking about? So Benjamin, what is the idea for here?
Yeah, what our overall goal? Hello?
Can you hear us?
So, today we are going to do kind of like a general breakdown of not just the series, like a little bit of the series, but mostly because Sarah and I have been watching some movies.
Oh my god.
We watched almost every Dragon Ball Z movie, starting from Dead Zone all the way through Resurrection F.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about those. We're gonna talk about Xenoverse 2, which all three of us have put in a truly insufferable amount of hours into.
I wouldn't say insufferable.
Well,
And then
there was a lot of time.
yeah, and then we're gonna wrap it up with a fun little discussion at the end of what would be your ideal Dragon Ball game.
Right.
Okay.
Cool.
So, so let's get right into it.
Right.
What do you guys remember of the first Dragon Ball Z movie, which was Dead Zone?
Garlic Jr. sucks.
Garlic Jr. is not a good villain.
Garlic Jr. is the worst villain.
I liked the soup colored palette that they used for the Dead Zone itself, and that's about it.
That's it.
It's really, well, the first three movies are permanently etched into my brain because I think we talked about this last episode, but Toonami would air those three movies over and over. Whenever they ran out of episodes, they would divide the movies into 4 or 5 episodes and just air that.
Just constantly.
I remember watching Dead Zone and Tree of Might divided into 5 small episodes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I remember.
Yes.
And I was I remember watching Dead Zone and being like, well, wait a minute. They already did the thing where Goku and Piccolo team up. They're friends now. Why are they enemies at the beginning of this now?
What's with the dragon? Why does this dragon keep showing up? Is this the dragon of Dragon Ball Z? That's what I thought as a kid.
Yeah.
What's going on? It's so... Oh, man.
Gotta hate Icarus.
Icarus is the worst.
Is the worst. Is absolutely the worst of the mascot characters.
I'm taking shots just thinking about it. Oh, man.
It's also weird that Garlic Jr. is the villain that gets a filler arc.
Yeah.
There were a lot of other movie villains that were better.
That deserved a cool filler arc.
It's because they wanted an excuse to get Pilaf again, but they forgot Pilaf's name.
Yeah.
They forgot.
I used to think that Garlic Jr. and Pilaf were brothers or something.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Before I knew a lot about it, I'm like, oh, are these two the same character, or are they're siblings, or what's going on?
No.
Pilaf is actually way better than Garlic Jr. because Pilaf is funny.
At the very least, Pilaf is funny. So and otherwise, I think it's the only movie. The only other thing I can think of that's even remotely noteworthy about Dead Zone is the fact that it has the power pole in it.
Yeah, Goku uses the power pole in it, which is the last.
It's the last time he does.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
It also is. Is this the one where Gohan trips balls, or is that a different movie?
This is the one where Gohan trips balls.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is where a 4-year-old's fucking toasted.
He sure is.
Spins the whole movie out of his mind on psychotropic apples?
Apples. He pops an apple and he is gone. that kid is just gone.
He pops an apple. That's what the kids are calling it these days.
There's that line in the abridged version where one of the henchmen is like, "Well, I hope you packed your bags, kid, because you're about to go on a trip."
Yeah. So what's next? Because really, I can't think of anything else worth talking about.
Next is the World's Strongest, which is actually pretty cool because Roshi gets to do stuff in the World's Strongest.
Roshi gets to be a thing in that one. Yeah, that's good.
Here's what I liked about the World's Strongest. It foreshadowed the entirety of the Cell Saga before it even happened.
Oh, yeah,
it did.
Oh yeah.
That's really interesting how the movie basically had its own original plot, but it's not original because a couple of years later it actually happens.
And I guess that's because I guess by the time the World's Strongest came out, Cell Saga was maybe starting in the manga. That's not a thing I want to research.
I don't know because
it was still Frieza Saga.
No, World's Strong. Yeah, World's Strongest would have, because it aired like when the anime was in like the Saiyan saga. Like,
Okay.
it's like it, because like the first handful of movies like can't fit into the canon timeline anywhere,
Right.
because like Goku is around and not injured, but Gohan has been trained by Piccolo, and
Right.
like
yeah.
characters show up who should be dead by now, and so yeah, like
Yeah, we don't think about it. Those the movies have their own timeline. They
Yeah.
exist in an alternate reality.
We'll cover that later.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think World's Strongest sort of aired like around the time like Vegeta probably would have like landed,
Okay.
and so yeah, Androids was a twinkle in Toriyama's eye.
An idea Toriyama
maybe
wasn't
because
even
of this
considering.
movie.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Was Wheelo like Red Ribbon? Like, did he?
No.
Or was he just like a weird scientist?
I think he
Just
was
a weird
just
scientist.
He's just a
Okay.
weird
But
scientist.
that you could definitely, I wouldn't put it past Toriyama to go like, I could actually reuse this.
I could
Oh,
do
yeah.
something
I
with
could
this.
reuse the red ribbon too, huh? All right,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
forgot about those guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about Launch. Justice for Launch 2K18. Where's
Yeah.
my girl? Where's my girl, Toriyama?
Where's any of them?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Bulma.
So what's next?
The next one is actually,
Tree.
I think one of the best ones. Tree of Might was fucking great.
Tree of Might
Might's
has a lot.
okay.
It's got a lot of going for it. I think the most interesting is the concept of Turles looking exactly like Goku and the
Because
Yeah.
the
explanation for
Saiyans are
it.
canonically just clones of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, like breeding stock or like eugenics or something. It's
Yeah,
really
Yeah.
weird eugenics
interesting.
program.
I like that Turles looks like Goku, but he's like explicitly not connected to Goku in any way.
Right.
Like he's not like Goku's cousin. He's not like Goku's uncle or anything. Like no,
He's not Goku's anything in relation except Goku's rank, and it's
Yeah.
that specifically, and that's an
Mhm.
interesting thing.
Yeah,
Other than
'cause they
that, I don't have
mention
much
in
to.
but then they don't even mention it until like literally, I think Xenoverse 2 is when Turles actually says the line like, "Hey, yeah, this is just what low class Saiyans look at like," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that makes more questions." So are they all just like they're just all clones, right? Like,
It's probably like a bunch of eugenics and probably like some weird like breeding technology that goes into like, like because they show in Bardock Father of Goku, they show like the Saiyans are like in incubator pods basically,
yeah,
And
that's
it's-
true.
so it's probably got some genetic like manipulation. Be like, okay, well we just need some rank and file soldiers here.
That's so interesting. Like, I don't even think Toriyama realized that he had made like a really fucked up, interesting, like spacefaring warrior society
Yeah.
until years later. He was like, oh wait, I accidentally made a really interesting and unique thing.
Time to not talk about it and bring up the Universe 6 scenes instead.
Yeah.
Time to never bring it up ever again. Whoopsie. But Turles
But
is
yeah,
cool. Tree
Turles
of Might
is-
cool.
Turles is a really cool. Like, it's weird, like realizing that like Turles just looks like that, and it's not the movie's like really dark shading. No, he's just gray. He's very gray.
He's and even like you're right, it's not the movie's shading because again in Xenoverse 2, Turles is gray.
Yeah.
He isn't like dark skinned or like brown skinned. He's gray. It's weird. He's
With
like a dark
With like the
elf version.
teensiest touch of like pink to it too. It's
He's
weird.
like
pink
almost
and, like-
purple.
Yeah, and his armor's got that like muted purple to it. And at first, you're always like, "Oh, because the Tree of Might blots out the fucking sun." So
Right.
yeah, of course he'd look like that. But no, he is just like that.
He's just like that. He's like a dark elf version of Goku. It's weird.
Yeah,
It's
and
so
I do
weird.
like the little touch that like the spikes on his hair point upward
Yep.
to look like devil horns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But otherwise, again, I don't
Yeah.
have a whole
The-
lot of enthusiastic stuff to say about.
Yeah. The next
Turles.
the next one is Lord Slug, which can we talk real quick? Just like switch gears to Xenoverse for just a second, and like talk about the very large elephant in the room regarding Lord Slug.
The what now?
Yeah. The elephant in the room.
The prominent elephant in the room regarding Lord Slug in Xenoverse 2.
This is the thing I complained to you, to both of you, specifically about because it haunts my fucking dreams. At no
it's-
point in the development of Xenoverse 2 did anybody look at the models for the male torsos in spandex clothes, and nobody at Namco Bandai went, man, it looks like every single male character in tight pants is just sporting a raging hard-on at all times.
I don't know. Just like Lord Slug, I'm kind of drawing blanks on what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, you're hilarious. Yeah, because Lord Slug is like one of the most boring DBZ movies. Oh.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say about Lord Slug as a film.
What's funny about Lord Slug is Lord Slug. You know how like most DBZ movies are like they're just kind of like a alternate version of like sagas that happen. You know, like cool. Like Dead Zone is just a retreading of Raditz with Goku and Piccolo teaming up.
Right.
Cooler is a retreading of Frieza. Lord Slug is a retreading of Tree of Might.
Yeah.
It totally is.
It is.
Oh my god. It's
The same
idea, yeah.
The same thing of like blocking out like the weather or like the sun and everything. Like, yeah, it's just the same.
It's the exact. They were just like, it's a plot so nice, we'll make it twice, you know. and then yeah, man, Lord Slug, God,
Sucks.
whatever.
He's bad. He's not.
Cooler.
Yeah, Cooler is like so. Cooler's Revenge, Return of the Revenge Cooler.
What is it for real though?
The first one is Cooler's Revenge.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah,
and then the second one is
Return of Cooler.
I hate it. Thanks.
Cooler's Revenge is actually really good.
It's pretty good.
I like a lot about the very first Cooler film. But I do not want to spend an hour talking about it because it's mostly going to be me going like, man, Cooler has some very nice lipstick and like Cooler purple. Like that's some good fashion choices. I like the contrast of Cooler's like of Frieza's true form being way smaller than his form 3.
Yep.
And Cooler's final form being just way bigger.
He's just Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And he's massive.
He's huge. It's so interesting. And then they have to throw him. I like that this is a thing that'll come up again. I like the answer in a lot of these movies is throw them into the fucking sun.
Yeah, this is the first of Goku's trend of just throwing the villain into a sun and to get rid of them. And you know what's funny? It never works.
You would think
Cooler comes back, Broly comes back. They both got fucking jacked into the sun.
You would think, too, that, like, throwing somebody into a fucking sun has a certain measure of finality to it, you know? Like, it's a sun. It's not like there's going to be anything left of the dude in the aftermath to, like, do anything with. Nope. Somehow, because these people who write these movies are all hack frauds, they come up with some bullshit reason. And, yeah, it's not great. None of these movies are, like, amazing. Some of them are just like more fun than the others, and Cooler is one of the ones that's like more
Cooler's
fun.
definitely very fun. He because you know it's basically just he's basically like I'm gonna say it. He's a cooler Frieza.
Oh,
like it's hard to talk about how cool he is. He's just like I don't know. Like Frieza's got that like
Frieza's got this like there's this constant like sadism over pragmatism to him that Cooler just doesn't have.
Yeah.
He's no nonsense, and he's also very respectful and very like polite. There's this like I don't know how obvious it is in the dub, but at least in the Japanese version, like it's the same voice actor, but they have very different inflections on how they talk to people.
Really? They use
with DBZ and its obsession with using the same voice actor in the Japanese version.
But it's like I don't know, and there's also the fact that like his Ginyu Force sucks shit compared to the actual Ginyu Force, but
that's true.
Unlike the actual Ginyu Force, who like jobbed super hard, nonstop, never had a chance, these ones managed to survive long enough to still try and kill Goku.
Sauza outlives Cooler
to avenge his master, and like none of the Ginyus would have done that. I think that's
I actually so for one thing, I hate the armor design for Cooler's Armored Squadron.
It's not great.
The bright garish purple and green with like only the one shoulder pad looks
really
terrible.
Yeah.
But Sauser's got that blade. That's really cool.
His lightsaber is cool, man. His lightsaber is cool, and
can't hate on it.
He outlives everybody, and he gets to kind of have like the final oh shit moment of the movie.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice like little oh my god moment, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's respectable. So that's like an actual movie you should probably like just have like funsies, you know, like watch Cooler.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, none of these are like stellar award winning, but like some of them are much more fun to watch than the others, for sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Next.
So the next one is the Revenge Return sequeling of Cooler.
The Return of Cooler's Revengeance.
Yeah. Metal Gear Cooler Meta Cooler Revengeance.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
God, whatever. It's just a Namek saga again.
So Final Form Cooler is fucking awesome. He's big, he's spiky, he's muscular. Metal Cooler sucks.
Metal Cooler sucks.
He looks so dumb. He looks worse than the hodgepodge that Metal Frieza was.
Because Metal Frieza was at least funny, because like you kind of got the sense that they just like stapled Frieza back together. like you just kind of got the sense that this is like
he was a pathetic sad sack.
Yeah, it was pathetic. It was supposed to be like a really pathetic kind of last stand. Blah, blah, thing.
I get like the idea that like the body that Frieza has as Metal Freezer was like his. Like the body they kind of like the prosthetic they gave him until they could build the real prosthetic.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a temporary thing.
Yeah, and they were like they had plans to upgrade him to a real body.
And then he got tragically chopped up and turned into dust. Whoops.
But he's like, no, I need to kill Goku now.
Right now. And then Metal Cooler is just like boring. He's blue.
Yeah, he's just all blue and he's got the problem I hate. He's got like the sort of like bionic prosthetic that I hate, which is the old 90s Western comic book style, which is take a normal arm and then color it gray and draw horizontal lines going down it, and that is a metal arm.
It's chrome. See, it's fine. Yeah. It's like what's his face, like Colossus in X-Men. It's
or
not
the
a
Winter
good
Soldier's
look.
arm.
Yeah, that's always bad looking. Sorry.
Like I get it for so I get it for Colossus because Colossus is turning into metal, but like, why would you design a prosthetic that looks like that?
Yeah, it's not great. Mm. It doesn't seem very functional, and it looks really bad. The only cool thing in Metal Cooler is the bit at the very end when he turns into like the horrible Akira monster thing.
Yeah.
That looked really cool. Like, that just always looks really, really cool.
For all of, like, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's so short-lived. But it's, like, it's so aesthetic for me. It's very Akira. It looks like a horrible, gross monster man, and I love it. And it's super short-lived, and then the movie ends, and you're just like, great, this one sucked. What's next?
Yeah. The next one is one of my favorites, actually. I love Super Android 13.
I haven't actually seen this one. I've only seen
my trucker?
I've only seen the abridged version, and I love it.
I'm like really surprised that more movies didn't just say, "Hey, here's more androids."
Yeah, you would think
there's a lot of opportunity for that. Yeah,
you could have had like endless amounts of androids because it's like sure, Dr. Giro had a bunch of like side projects.
Yeah, you could have easily done just more androids show up.
Yeah, it's fine. And it would have been fun.
Yeah, like you could have had another one where Ader like returns.
Yeah,
for that matter. There is a lot of potential for that.
I love that. Speaking of him, there's a what if story in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 where it's what if 16 went back in time.
Oh no!
And he goes back in time to kill Goku as a kid, and Ader, you play as Ader fighting 16. It's really cool.
That's adorable.
That's adorable.
It's so cool.
Thinking of that, those two are like the best characters for their arcs.
I know, the purest babies.
What is it with like? What is it with like divisions of 4 that like guarantees that that character is gonna be good.
I don't know. It's just that Akira Toriyama loves a good gentle giant character.
Yeah, he just loves making big guys that are like really soft and kind.
Yeah, that's it, and he's really good at them. So
this list does not include Android 13, who was very large and mean.
He's large and mean, and again, I've only seen the abridged version, and it is probably my favorite. Other than the Broly one, it's my favorite.
Yeah. This movie gets a lot of play where it's like, for me, like, this is the movie where it's like, so when I was growing up watching it, I had no idea of the concept of Dragon Ball movies. Like, right. I didn't get that you could do that with a cartoon. Like, wait, you just make a movie of the cartoon?
Right.
What? Because that was back when I didn't know what anime was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
So, like, and I would, like, be online and, like, see really low quality images of a big blue man punching Goku in the balls. And I'm like, that doesn't happen at any point in Dragon Ball Z. Why are they in the arc? What is going on? This isn't real. That GIF was everywhere in the early internet, because it's so, there's no like disguising what 13 did.
He actually
like it's
Goku in the dick.
It's not like it's like, oh haha, the angle is weird for this gut punch. It looks like he's punching Goku in the dick. Ha 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 ha. No, he grabs Goku by the leg, lifts him up, and just uppercuts him in the Dragon Balls.
There are so many things. There are so many things wrong with the 13 movie, but I think the worst of them is Trunks loses his really gorgeous jacket.
Yeah, for like the only time in Dragon Ball history, powering up disintegrates his clothes.
I don't get it.
Like Fist of the North Star style.
Yeah, like he bulks up and then his jacket disintegrates. Not his undershirt, his jacket.
Just
it's so weird.
His mom made that for him.
Oh my god, my mom's gonna kill me.
Trunks goes through like 5 jackets throughout the course of like the movies and the series.
It's absurd. Like
he just keeps going back to his mom.
I have to going to the future.
I have to imagine that like
making more timelines to like go get the same.
I have to imagine that like present Bulma like that's like a Capsule Corp like product, and Bulma just keeps
pops a capsule and throws it at him.
Yeah, she just orders them in bulk for him.
No, it's that Trunks keeps fucking up the timeline by like traveling to a point in history where his jacket wasn't stolen or ruined, and he just steals it, and then that creates yet another branching timeline of the fucking nightmare that is Dragon Ball Z's time travel.
So the Android 13 movie is interesting because it's like the first hint of the ongoing trend you get in Dragon Ball movies.
God.
Which is the recurring pattern of like the villain shows up, the first squad of heroes fights him.
Everybody loses.
They lose. Then either Piccolo or Vegeta show up to save them.
This movie is great because both of them do that.
Yeah, both of them get this is the gradient of shifting roster, where both Piccolo and Vegeta get to do it, because like beforehand it's always Piccolo, and like this is like the first time it's Piccolo and Vegeta doing it at the same time, and then from then on it's just Vegeta after going forward.
Yeah, and then and again, because I've only seen the abridged version, for 10,000 years I lay dormant. And they just do it. I love it. Why were they both in the Arctic? I need to know.
Well, I think Piccolo lives there.
Piccolo's
doesn't have a house.
Piccolo lives wherever. Vegeta was just there.
Sure.
I think he was just like he was either like tsundere mode, like just keeping an eye on Trunks, or he just wanted to one-up Goku. There's no other explanation.
There's no other explanation. I don't know. These movies, man. Things I've learned by watching so many fucking DBZ movies in the last few months. that like sometimes in Dragon Ball movies things just kind of happen.
Yeah,
just roll with it.
Just go with it.
There's no time for questions. Like Vegeta just has to be there so that Vegeta can get beasted later.
Yeah, so he can job.
Yeah, and so he can give his energy to Goku at the end.
Are we about to talk about Broly?
Well, I guess I don't have anything more to say besides Super 13. Besides, like his transformation is like
the worst.
really awful.
Bad.
It's just this bright garish blue and
it's bad.
This weird early Vegito hair that he gets.
Vegeta, he stole your due.
Don't kill him.
And we're not going to talk about the racism.
Yeah, let's.
14 and 15 are uncomfortable.
Yeah, you thought that like it was all back in DB, because of the whole fucking. There's a character literally who's the black guy named General Black because Toriyama is a hack fraud. But then you get to DBZ and you're like, oh, this hasn't been too uncomfortable. And then
that happens.
And then 14 and 15 show up and you're like, oh.
Oh, right.
Oh.
I guess it has been that uncomfortable because Mr. Popo has been here the whole time, but
yeah.
Okay, so it never went away. It's just
It's true. But speaking of garish blue, Nickelodeon's attempt to fix Popo did not work.
Oh god.
That is the most uncomfortable censorship I've ever seen in anything ever.
It's not great either.
But
okay. We gotta move on because I don't. This fucking.
We have to talk about it. We have to confront Broly.
We have to do it. Broly is the biggest piece of shit movie I've ever seen in my entire goddamn life.
The first Broly is It's. Oh god. But Broly 1 and 2 are both bad for different reasons.
Totally different reasons, but they're both
so
fucking awful.
There's so much wrong with Broly 1. For instance, who fucking edited this movie?
Yeah, well, who?
It's all over the place.
Who fucking wrote? What is this script?
There are 4 different plots going on at the same time.
There's 4 different plots.
2 of them.
And there's no tone. The tone is all
the tone.
Over the
place. It'll just there's points where it'll just randomly cut to Roshi just farting around the planet. Why?
Why? And then random laugh cuts for Goku.
Goku's getting his spine busted in a fucking Mortal Kombat X-ray move, and then it cuts to Roshi drunkenly stumbling around. What?
What is going on? And then the fucking alien abominations.
Oh, I hate them. Oh I hate them so much.
I've never recoiled physically from my computer the way I did because Ben and I we watched them together and we were making commentary, and as soon as those fucking things popped up, I'm like, what in the fuck is that?
They're wrong.
They're wrong.
They're wrong.
Who designed them?
Fucking incorrect.
Fucking Akira Toriyama, the fucking master of drawing little goblin gremlin guys. Whatever you say about him, Garlic Jr. has a great design.
Sure.
Him and Pilaf have fucking stellar little imp designs.
The Cybermen look great.
Yeah, and then you get...
Oh my god.
You get these...
The movie is so,
It's so bad.
There was a point in this movie where I was like, we have to turn this off.
Fucking every time it cuts to Goku, doing this weird, dazed laughing, while Broly is giving him brain damage. I don't...
Broly is, about to tear Gohan's arms off. And,
I don't understand.
Just kind of, goofing off.
I don't understand why they decided to make Goku fucking punch drunk for, 30% of this movie.
What is this? And then, the fucking everything with Vegeta in this fucking movie.
Oh, Vegeta being the biggest baby of all time.
The biggest, whiniest fucking bitch of all time in this movie. And it's I know he's a giant goddamn man-child in canon, but what?
Not like this.
Not like this.
oh, Broly's so strong. Oh no, Broly's gonna beat it. Hey, Vegeta, give me your power so that I can beat Broly.
No,
I don't wanna.
die.
No, I don't wanna. I'd be the strongest. He goes from like being terrified of Broly to like trying to be like his confident, arrogant, like, no, I must be the one to kill Broly. Like,
yeah.
Fuck off.
Fuck you. Who wrote this fucking piece of shit? I want to know. I want to find.
It's the same writer for every other movie, which is why it's so surprising that Broly sucks so much.
Why? Because I mean, like, the other movies are either bad to serviceable or fun, but what the fuck is going on in this movie?
Like I said before, it's like the big issue is that there's just way too many plots going on. And if you streamlined it, it would have been really good. So what was Paragus' plan? A very convoluted way to get back at Vegeta by him on a planet.
By the end of the day, what did Paragus want?
To kill Vegeta?
But Vegeta was already dead because he wanted to kill King Vegeta.
Right.
Yeah, his plan didn't work. There's nothing there. What did Paragus ultimately want?
By building like a fake planet Vegeta. Like, what was the whole point of that? I guess it was to like get Vegeta on the planet that was about to get hit by the comet. But
it's too convoluted. I hate it so much.
I forgot there was a comet.
There was a comet. It's what kind of kills Broly at the end, because Broly is so fucking whatever that it's not actually Goku that kills him. It's like the fucking comet crashing onto the planet that does it in. Like,
okay, so Paragus wants Vegeta to die by comet.
Yes.
So he takes Vegeta to the planet, and he's like, "This is my son Broly," and Paragus is using Broly to like.
No, Broly is just there. He's not using Broly for anything.
But he builds the control crown for Broly so that he can control Broly to like destroy
Vegeta
things.
Yeah,
like
that's the point. That's the whole crazy thing. He's got the strongest Saiyan ever under his control, but he doesn't want to use.
He wants Vegeta dead, and he has a son that can fucking obliterate galaxies. And he's like, "No, invincible son, I must kill Vegeta."
By comet.
He doesn't want Broly to rampage and reveal the plot to kill Vegeta, but if Broly rampages, he'll likely kill Vegeta.
Right.
It's so bad. I had this conversation with Sara like a couple of weeks back. The first Broly movie could have been fixed if you made it like movie 6 from One Piece.
It's where, like, a weird nightmare than something,
You could have fixed it by making it either about Paragus, who is this conniving, plotting Saiyan who has this plan to get Vegeta killed by Comet, and has to spend the movie like trying to keep up the illusion.
Yeah.
Or a movie about Broly, who is this hulking, sadistic brute that just wants to destroy everything, and the guys have to stop him because he's gonna fucking wipe out planets.
Except the thing is, you can't make it a movie just about Broly doing that, because they did that and it sucked.
It's true.
It's very true. No, because there's one in between. There's one between, which is one of my favorites. BoJack Unbound, which actually I really like Jack.
BoJack is a good movie.
BoJack's got some good points to it.
It's a serviceable, fun.
Because BoJack does the thing that like a lot of other movies do as well, and like what should have been like the norm for like the sagas actually, which is, hey, here's Broly and here's like his henchmen, and like the henchmen are gonna pair off with the heroes, and duke it out with them,
so that everybody has something to do instead of waiting for Goku.
And like it's BoJack is very much a better version of what Broly should have been, because BoJack is also very huge and sadistic and unstoppable. And like, but they do like the one thing. The humor in BoJack is a lot better.
Yeah.
Mr. Satan, like, what's funny is like the humor in Broly is weird and out of place and doesn't make sense, whereas the humor in BoJack ultimately serves a purpose, because Mr. Satan bumbling around crashes his little pod into BoJack, and that buys them time.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. It's almost like setup and payoff is.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it?
Who fucking knew? It's like the most basic like screenwriting 101 bullshit, but it turns out if you have some minor semblance of like setting up a thing and then paying it off later, that gives the audience a sense of like satisfaction for paying attention. I know that's fucking crazy, but like roll with it, you know? Like maybe you could do that and make some good fucking movies for once.
It's also got the best Trunks design ever.
Oh my god, don't start.
The sleeveless jacket with the long hair.
Don't make me do this. Don't turn me into a 13-year-old girl right now.
They knew because where did they put Trunks? Where did they put Trunks in this movie, Sarah?
In a fucking flower.
It's so good.
So that when he squares up against like the dude he's got to fight, he strikes his fucking fighting pose, and what fucking happens? Like flower petals just flutter by in like this fucking like gorgeous shoujo anime like sakura flowers shot, and you're just like, they knew. The dude he's fighting is also like the kind of like the weird mystic pretty one. Yeah,
and it's amazing. Bojack's henchmen are so good.
Bojack's henchmen are great. All of their designs look good, especially Zangia, who looks excellent.
They're like the first time I've seen like space pirates that like really look like what you would get if you actually did mash an alien and a pirate together.
Yeah. And like their designs are so solid because like that, you know, it's like that blue color plus like their hair color, it all meshes together really well, and it just looks really rich, and the movie itself looks great. It's not one of the better animated DBZ movies. It's
kind of stiff.
It's a little stiff in places,
It's a little stiff, and also just kind of the art quality itself is like a little lacking. But
color palette's fucking good though. Man.
It's so sharp.
Oh my god, yeah.
Also, it has my favorite Gohan costume ever.
Oh my god, yeah, the Gohan design in this movie is so solid.
Teen Gohan in the Turtle Hermit Gi is stellar. Oh my god, he looks so sharp.
It's just a really good ass design, and like all of the designs in this are really solid. The whole movie is just like, it's fun. It kind of stays moving. You don't ever get like the sense of, in like Broly and Broly and Broly too. You get that whole sense of like, oh my god, just like nobody can seem to get a win. You know, like that's how all these movies kind of work. And after a while, you just roll your eyes because it's like, yeah, on with it. And so nobody can really seem to get a win. But in this, there's like a good back and forth. Like the Bojack and his crew have like interesting abilities. They're all really like hyper competent. And so it has like a really nice kind of push and pull the whole movie.
And, you know, of course, like, they're dropped off at these fucking cool locales to have their battles in. Like, it's great.
Yeah, so everything stays visually interesting, and it kind of has a
trigger-ass town.
Yeah!
Oh, it's so good. So good.
Also, we got to talk about it, man. Fucking Gohan
kicks a dude in half.
He kicks and punches two separate people in half.
It's so cool. It is so cool.
Holy shit!
It's intense.
Don't fuck with Gohan.
Don't fuck with Gohan.
And
Gohan's got some issues, my man.
They do that fucking like the time freeze and like the color palette does a fucking JoJo shift, and it's like, what the fuck? He cut that dude in half.
It looks so good, and it's just Bojack's great. Bojack is what you want mostly out of a DBZ. If there had been like a little. I just lost something off my desk. If it had like the slightest sliver of more plot or like character interaction, it would have been perfect. But you know what? It's easily in the top 5.
It's a good spectacle.
It is.
It's a good spectacle.
Absolutely.
And then there's.
So let's shift gears to the other just fucking terrible movie, Broly 2. So you know what I like about Broly 2? How the first like 15 minutes don't matter at all.
Yeah.
The whole thing with like the village and
the
like is meaningless.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
It adds nothing.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Just padding.
Okay, so
we're doing right now.
I hate this movie.
You know, we didn't talk about it in the first one, but like the first Broly movie, to its credit, Broly had some chilling ass lines.
Yeah, he's got the whole "Do you love your son, Kakarot?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
it's good.
Standing there and like taunting in this like really not Frieza sadistic, but this just cruel.
Yeah, crazy berserker sadistic. Like, you kind of get the sense of like, oh shit. Like, the first Broly movie could have been a good movie if it wasn't such a fucking mess,
Yeah.
This movie has that's not true. The only redeeming quality is that the movie does actually look visually like good as shit. Like, it looks really damn good. Especially compared to the fact that the first Broly movie looks like garbage.
Oh, it looks terrible.
It's ugly. Like, we didn't bring that up, but the first Broly movie is hideous.
This movie also has, one thing, it has Videl in a cute dress, which is nice.
That's a plus.
All right.
I love Videl in a cute dress.
It has one of my favorite jokes in Dragon Ball history, which is, like I said, the idea is that they fight until they lose, and then Piccolo or Vegeta shows up.
Yes.
And this movie plays with that by having Krillin dressed as Piccolo showing up to save Gohan.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good joke.
Why doesn't Piccolo or Krillin have the Demon Gi as like his alternate costumes in any of the fighting games? He looked pretty good in it.
That's not fair. That would have been really fun if he had like an alternate costume too, where he wears the Demon Gi. I would have loved that.
Would have been really funny anyway.
Yeah, and then it has the the son family Kamehameha,
which is cool.
Yeah, which is really cool.
That's it.
And then of course it also has both scenes of Goten and Trunks peeing.
Because it's a DBZ and
this is how men bond.
Yeah.
I hate that. I think I hate this movie more than Broly 1.
I don't know. Because this movie like felt more consistent, like tonally.
Yeah. Where
it wasn't
jokey jokes the whole time.
It wasn't like
15 goddamn minutes of filler, my man.
But it was all front loaded.
Yeah.
And then I'm not saying it was tonally consistent in a good way, but it was more tonally consistent than Broly 1.
I don't know which one I hate more. I think it depends on the day you ask me, but right now where I'm sitting, I hate Broly 2. I mean, I really hate Broly 2.
Also, the Dragon Balls don't work that way.
Like that. The Dragon Balls don't fucking work like that. You have to actually summon the dragon and then verbalize your wish. You can't just be like, oh, all 7 Dragon Balls are in the same area. Let me think about it, and then a thing will happen. What?
Here's my issue. You can fix Broly 1. I don't think there's anything you can do conceptually to fix Broly 2.
I think that's it. I think that's what it is you can't fix Broly 2.
Broly 1 could have been saved by editing. Mm-hmm. Like if the jokes were cut down, if a lot of like the weird like quirks like Goku being punch drunk.
Yep.
If the designs were changed. Like Broly could have been a better movie. Yeah, Broly 2 is just boring.
Yeah.
And
because there's a few points in Broly 1 where I went like, oh, that's interesting. When we were talking about it, I was like, oh, that's kind of dark. Oh, that's kind of like the bit with like Paragus holding Broly down and putting the restraining device on him, or the bit where King Vegeta kills a baby.
Yeah.
Like, those, I was like, oh, and there's that one shot, like it's a really good shot in Broly 1 of Paragus in the throne room on Planet Vegeta, and it's just really dark and moody shot, and like, it's all like an infinite black, and it's just Paragus, and he's realizing, oh, he's fucked. Like, all of that's really interesting. And so there's a few parts in Broly 1 where I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. There's not a single moment in Broly 2 where I went like, oh, that's interesting. The only thing I have to say that's even remotely positive about Broly 2 is that I think the character designs are good and the animation looks nice, and that's it.
Yeah. Which also the other thing, this is also in Broly 1, but it sucks that Broly as a character has fucking really cool attacks because he doesn't deserve them.
Yeah, Broly sucks, but Broly's like key manipulation stuff is really cool, and I hate that it's stuck with Broly. Because Broly, have I mentioned Broly sucks? Broly sucks. I think what makes Broly suck, and we'll get into, actually no, I'm going to hold off on that until we talk about the next one.
Okay, yeah. So the next one is the only good Broly movie because Broly himself is barely in it.
It makes no sense.
And
that
like,
Bio Broly is a good movie.
Sarah and I were both like, oh god, we didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And we got like 20 minutes into Broly 3 and we're like, wait, this is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's that Jay Bauman problem when they're watching Extra, like in Best of the Worst. There's a part in like one of the very first episodes of Best of the Worst where they're watching Extra, which is actually a really good horror movie if you have time to watch it.
Mhm.
Where when they're watching it and they're expecting it to be a bad movie, then you hear Jay at one point go, "Guys, we have a problem. This is actually a really compelling movie." That was the problem I had during Broly 3, where I was expecting to hate it.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Pretty good. Like it's not up there with like Cooler and BoJack, but like it's
serviceable.
It's not bad.
It's a functional movie. It is weird.
It's kind of interesting to not see Goku and Gohan in the leading spot.
They're not even in it.
Yeah, Goku's only in it for like the last 15 seconds, and I bet that's like, yeah, I bet that's like contractual. Like, you have to have Goku in it.
Goku has to be in this movie.
Yeah, it's the only movie where Gohan is not present at all, and that's kind of like, that's interesting. It's actually, it's kind of funny because like neither are like Vegeta or Piccolo or like any of the other mainstays.
It's weird because the main characters are 18. Trunks and Goten, and then like Krillin shows up.
Yeah.
And like Krillin actually kind of gets to do something, which never happens.
Yeah.
And like it's not great. I mean, like I'm not saying that because I mentioned this like in the chat that I'm in. I was like, oh, Bio Broly is actually pretty decent, and everybody went, what? And I was like, listen, no, it's not great. It's not even like super good. But Bio Broly it's a B movie. It's a B monster movie with DBZ characters.
Bio Broly's design he looks like a fucking Resident Evil villain, and I mean that in the best way.
He looks like a combination of Nemesis and the zombies from Return of the Living Dead, which if you've never seen is another good B horror movie. Because he's big and bulky, and he's got like a glowing heart center like Nemesis, but his skin is like melting off of him like the zombies in Return of the Living Dead. And he's got like a really creepy face because it's just two round eyes and then a mouth and like some hair spikes and sludge. And it's actually a pretty effective monster design. And so like by turning Broly into just like a monster movie monster, suddenly the Broly movie concept becomes really good. Like, it's just interesting the whole year. I was like sitting up at points, I'm like, wait a second, this is actually pretty good.
It's got that like overlying threat of like the acid sludge around it too, and you're like, oh, this hinders their ability to like freely move around, and it's like that's actually kind of an interesting approach to this.
It kind of creates like this dangerous arena around them at all times. It has kind of like, it has all like the tropes of your standard like science gone mad horror movie where it's like a rich man wants the perfect soldier, and so he has one made and it goes out of control, and then all of the scientists are killed by their hubris,
I actually really did like that the villain was just a guy with a grudge against Mr. Satan.
Yeah. And
I thought, like, it, for once it wasn't like a threat against Goku or Gohan or Vegeta. It's like, it's Mr. Satan and the others just kind of get caught up in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, World's Strongest gets kicked off because they were trying to get, like, Roshi.
Right. Yeah. And it has that same kind of sense of being, like, kind of compelling in that way. And the whole time I'm watching it, all I could think was that this definitely made me think of like a B movie, like a good B movie.
Yeah. And Broly's design does look like you would see in like a 90s or like late 80s, early 90s, like when they discovered they could like make goo.
Yeah.
And like just slop the goo into monsters everywhere. Like, yeah, perfect.
It looks good. And again, going back to BoJack, there's a setup and a payoff at the bit. Like they set up in the beginning of the movie that Trunks is really smart and Goten is clever, and you're like, okay, cool. And then that setup pays off down the line where like those two things are like, oh, well, the kid realizes one thing and the other kid realizes another. And then those two things kind of, that's how the problem gets solved. And like, what the fuck? That's like your standard like movie setup and payoff kind of thing.
What makes this stand out, I think, really, at the end of the day, is that Broly 3 feels so much better because it's finally a Broly movie that, like, functions like a movie does.
It's like an actual... Like, that's the weird thing. Is that, like, there are better Dragon Ball movies, but even, like, the good DBZ movies don't really function as, like, movies. It's just, like, some dudes show up and they fight and it's fun.
Yeah.
Like, Broly kind of feels like a real movie. And...
The only other like real nitpick I have with Broly 3, and I mentioned this when we were like watching Broly 2, I'm like, I just realized that Kid Trunks has no abilities onto his own. All he does is has generic ki blasts.
And then
in Broly 3, Trunks uses the Kamehameha. And like I told Sarah when it happens, I'm like, okay, somewhere Vegeta is like having chest pains.
This kid knows the fucking Kamehameha out of nowhere. And I'm just like imagining like his, like world's okayest dad mug shatters.
Yeah. That's what we said like the second time he was like, okay, for like Vegeta suddenly just got a weird chest pain out of nowhere. The second time he used it, it's like, okay, his favorite mug just broke.
It's so weird. And then like in the movie, it's, you know, there's like that cool team up Kamehameha between Trunks and Goten and Krillin. Again, Krillin gets to do something in this movie, which boggles the mind.
I think using all of the characters that they did really helps up the tension, because these are characters who definitely do not have the kind of plot armor the rest of the characters.
Yeah, that totally is it. Like, and because in like standard Dragon Ball, like 18 Krillin, Goten, and Trunks usually kind of exist to either be like side characters or to job, you know?
Yeah.
And they get to be like the main focus in the movie, and it's actually really interesting the whole time. What?
Yeah, it's very weirdly compelling, and I kind of wish more movies had done this formula of like taking, because like this movie exists in the point where Goku is dead, you know? Usually, Goku shows up as a spirit anyway and helps Gohan, like he did in BoJack and in Broly 2. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I kind of would have preferred if, like, more of these movies were like, here's a weird ensemble gathering of characters to fight new threat.
Yeah.
Have some of the B characters do their own thing while like the main arc is happening.
Yeah. Let the B characters, let the B team get like a movie. Like let Piccolo and some of those other like kind of side B characters get to do like a cool thing.
Yeah.
Like that would be awesome. Are you kidding me?
One of the movies starts with Piccolo and Tien trying to get their driver's license expired. And it gets out of control from there, and it's just it's a cop
joke. I would watch the shit out of a Tien and Piccolo buddy cop.
Dragon Ball movie 21, where it's like Piccolo and Tien have to avoid tax fraud.
No, we have to include Vegeta in that too, because this technically like nowhere.
But Vegeta goes to court for property damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Shit, that'd be so great. Oh man. Okay, but so Broly 3 is weirdly good.
Also, I really did like the stinger at the end, where it's like the implication that like Goku and Pikkon occasionally have to do like cleanup for like the villains that get sent to hell.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. That's actually like a great little joke. And I guess they were setting up for like a fourth Broly movie. And I guess nobody wanted a fourth Broly movie.
I mean, but like honestly, I would watch the hell out of a movie where it's just Goku and Pikkon fighting like the galaxy's worst after they die, and it's just this constant like exhausting slog of new villains being sent to hell.
You say that, but that is kind of what happens in Fusion Reborn.
A little bit, but it's like the opposite of what happens in Fusion Reborn, because like in Fusion Reborn is very interesting. It's
a weird movie.
It's one of my favorites. But at the same time, it has points that I just hate.
The thing about Fusion Reborn, And I think Fusion Reborn of like the old Dragon. This isn't counting like Resurrection F and Battle of Gods. But like of all the old Dragon Ball movies, Fusion Reborn is either the second or third best one, depending on how I'm feeling about like Wrath of the Dragon and BoJack. But it has no plot at all.
No, it doesn't.
At all. Like Fusion Reborn has literally no plot. The plot of Fusion Reborn, in contrast to like Broly 3, which actually does weirdly have an actual plot with like plot points and stuff. The plot of Fusion Reborn is a big monster shows up, Goku and Vegeta have to fight him, Hitler is there, ? The end. That's it. That's the whole movie. And I got
nothing.
I got nothing.
There's like a thing to talk about for every movie. That one's just like Fusion Reborn looked pretty.
Fusion Reborn is beautiful.
There's a bunch of bullet points there that are like me trying to come up with more, and there's nothing. I got nothing.
Final Form Janemba has really cool, like more magical attacks and like the standard key attacks. His design is very reminiscent of Cell in a very good way.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the heavy outline designs that were happening during the Goten and Trunks shenanigans.
But the Goten and Trunks shenanigans sucked, yeah.
There were way too many. It's the same problem that Broly 1 had, where they would randomly cut to Gotenks fighting Hitler at very inappropriate times during the very serious fight between Goku and Vegeta and Janemba.
Yeah, it's such a pace breaker. It just shatters any of the momentum in the movie. And like, I mean, like so the poster for Fusion Reborn is the most misleading goddamn poster.
Yes!
Yeah, it absolutely
is. Oh
is.
my god!
You actually think there's going to be shit going on in there.
Yeah, because the poster is just like, it's a fucking montage of like every villain.
Including like BoJack.
Including the movie villains.
You're like, BoJack and Turtle are back. Like fucking Frieza is back. And so you're thinking like, oh, this is going to be cool. It's going to be like the good guys on Earth fighting all the resurrected villains. So like Cell and Frieza and BoJack and Turles and all that stuff. So you're going to get like some cool shots of like Piccolo fighting dudes. Like you're expecting that.
It's gonna be Cooler's Revengeance 3.
Yeah. You're thinking like this is gonna be cool. It's gonna be like Goku in hell fighting a cool demon monster thing, and the good guys who are still alive fighting the resurrected bad guys. That is not what we got.
That's not what happened.
At all.
It's one quick shot of Goku gut punching Frieza into dust, or Gohan punching Frieza into dust, and then the rest is Gotenks versus Hitler.
And then Gogeta versus Janemba, and that's it.
Which sucks because for one thing, Gogeta looks way cooler than Vegito.
Yeah, fight me. Don't at me on Twitter. Gogeta is cooler.
Gogeta looks way, way, way cooler than Vegito.
Yep.
And I wish
on my mood. I'm gonna be real.
My biggest problem with Vegito is I hate his outfit.
It's not great.
I hate the gloves and the gi. I think it looks awful.
Yeah, it's not good.
I really wish that when they had fused in Super, like it had incorporated, because like in Boo, Vegeta was wearing his bad just training outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wish that when they had fused in Super, like it had incorporated his armor into it, because that would have been way cooler. But instead, Vegito just looks bad.
That's really bad.
Gogeta. I like that Gogeta is like half and half Goku and Vegeta.
Yeah.
Like if you cut his portrait in half, like you can see both of them on either side.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true.
And go ahead.
The place they fight in, like that area of hell, looks really amazing. Cool. And I'm so glad
it's beautiful.
I'm so glad that's a level in Xenoverse 2 because oh god, it looks so cool.
It's so
cool.
There's
bubbles around.
Yeah, there's weird, like, candy bubble things around, and, I mean, like, that was the thing I was watching Fusion Reborn, is that this movie is beautiful. I mean, like, it is straight up, like, maybe the prettiest Dragon Ball movie, other than of the Dragon. And even then, I think this one's prettier than Wrath of the Dragon because of all of the cool effects that are going on. Like, for one, like you said, the heavy black outlines in the Goten sequences. There's the really cool, the way Janemba teleports, where he turns into the little squares that are multicolored. And I just think that is such a unique magic effect. Gogeta's final attack with the cool sparkles looks incredible.
I'm so glad that's a move in Xenoverse too.
It looks so good. It's so beautiful.
I really wish the fusion pack for fighters would have been Gogeta and Janemba instead of Zamasu and Vegito Blue.
I like Fuse Zamasu, but I really think it's a shame that there's no rumor about Janemba getting added to fighters because Janemba looks cool, and that would have been a nice visual addition to the roster. Because right now it's just a bunch of Gokus. So
too many Gokus.
But you know, I literally could probably spend the whole podcast talking about how pretty I think Fusion Reborn is, because it is tremendous. The color palette is rich and dark. The character models look really solid. The animation itself looks really good. It is beautiful, and that beauty carries over into Wrath of the Dragon, which oh my god, it is such
so a lot of these movies, you know, are like for the most part they're like an hour long, you know.
Yeah.
I think in Japan they probably did like double features or like showed like an OVA beforehand or something in theaters.
Double features, yeah.
Yeah. Wrath of the Dragon could have been like 45 minutes longer, and I would not have complained one bit.
Honestly, the problem with Wrath of the Dragon is short, because what happens is that you have to have, like, the thing that kind of holds Wrath of the Dragon back is that they have to do a big exposition dump in the dead middle of the movie, which completely destroys the pacing. Yeah. Like, Taebyun is just kind of like, here, let me tell you my entire backstory for no reason.
Let me tell you the tales of my people.
Yeah!
Thousands of years ago, in the future.
Yes.
And it's so, and it just kills the pacing.
It does.
Of the movie. Mm-hmm. The movie just slows down, and you're just, oh no.
And then they kind of have, like, because they have to do like 15 minutes of exposition for Taebyun, they have to cram the actual fight into the very end.
And and because it's just like they didn't have anybody else to set up as a villain, it's just the Z Fighters versus like one big dude, and like I like the concept of everybody fighting a big old monster, but because you have to contractually let Goku handle things, the movie really suffers because it was kind of setting up things to go differently, and he just kind of shows up out of nowhere and wins.
It's weird because like I didn't watch this movie until like very recently, you know, with you, and but I knew what Taebyun was all about. Like, I knew who Taebyun was as a character. I played, you know, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and, like, you know, all those games where Taebyun's in there. And it's like, Taebyun doesn't do much.
He doesn't really get a chance to do anything, and you were really hoping, I thought, like, oh, this is going to end in some cool, like, Kid Trunks and Taebyun killing this big monster thing. Because that's kind of what the movie's been building toward by, like, establishing, like, this, like, you know...
Here, Goku, steal the kill!
Yeah, you know, and it's not what happens at all. And instead you get like one really traumatizing moment where like you have, hey little kid, will you murder me?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, I didn't sign up for this in the Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a shame that like this movie wasn't like a half hour longer so you could put more development into Taebyun or into like the fight, like whatever you wanted to add to it, it needed, you know?
Yeah, it needed to just kind of, like, be spaced out better and have, like, a little bit more...
If you wanted to add more fight, if you wanted to add more backstory, if you wanted to add more of, like, Taebyun and Trunks, like, hanging out, like, it needed that.
Yeah. It needed just a little bit more kind of established... It just needed more, really, of everything. It needed character establishment, because it was kind of clearly going for more, like, of a character-focused Dragon Ball movie. By having it be more exclusively about, like, Taebyun and Kid Trunks. And so you think, like, oh, that's cool, because, you know, like, sometimes that's what you need. You need, like, a good... Before we started recording, we were talking about how Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is a better movie because it's character-focused instead of action-focused.
Yeah.
And so you thought, like, oh, that's kind of what they're going for here in Wrath of the Dragon. It's character focused instead of action focused. But then, like, they kind of were like, oh shit, we're still making a Dragon Ball movie. We can't make it be too character focused. And so, like, all of these interactions you were kind of hoping for, like, where the fuck was Vegeta? You were kind of, like, hoping, like, oh, it's, like, post-Boo, so Vegeta's, like, kind of an okay dad. And so, like, maybe there would be, like, an interaction between him and Tapion. That doesn't happen. Vegeta literally shows up at the end of the movie and then jobs and is out of the movie.
I did like that bit where Vegeta has to save the building.
Yeah, I like that. It was
save the people. It was a good finality to, like, Vegeta as a character, you know?
Yeah. And you were thinking, and, like, that's the problem, is that, like, again, they were kind of aiming for, like, a character movie, but then they kind of didn't have a chance because of the amount of time they were given to make it a true character-driven movie. And so by the end of it, it just kind of, it falls short and is held up mostly by the strength of holy shit, this movie looks so good.
It looks amazing.
So here's what I gotta say: the very final end, that fucking gorgeous looking dragon fist thing, that gets reused as an attack, like as a finisher for Goku. From like this point onwards, whenever he needs to kill a boss, and it carries into GT. So like this is pulled out of the movies and into like the main canon at the time, which sort of gives the idea that like Goku had finally like moved away from his like mentors and started creating his own martial arts like abilities. He finally has his own like moves, right? Because he's always stealing.
It's that joke in a bridge that all of Goku's techniques are stolen.
Because they are.
Yeah.
And, like, he finally has his own style, and of course it's, like, Dragon Fist. That rules.
It's cool.
We really only see that in the movies, which sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks, because it's a really cool attack.
Because it's the movies in GT.
Yeah, unfortunately. And the movie, I mean, like, man, I know I don't want to spend, because this is an audio podcast, so I can't, like, show examples, but this movie is gorgeous.
Please watch it at some point.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite films because Tapion is adorable.
I mean,
Tapion, I love that.
Good old Tapioca.
Oh, God. Did I lose you guys? Shit.
No, I'm here.
Ben?
I think we lost Ben.
Okay.
I definitely lost everybody.
Yeah, that was weird. We had like a hiccup. Maybe he'll.
There we go. Sorry.
Hi. What happened?
You're all good.
My mic slipped out of its port.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
I didn't lose anything you said. I just dropped out for a bit, so it's fine.
Okay.
I hiccuped at the same time, so I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the movie is gorgeous. I want to like make a post on Tumblr or Twitter where I like go crazy about the visuals of Wrath of the Dragon, because they are the colors are so rich, the character models look so good, the animation quality itself is really, really nice. Everything just looks natural, and just the designs themselves look great. I mean, I really could go on forever. The whole time we're watching this movie, all I was saying to Ben constantly was like, this is beautiful.
It's spectacular.
It is so beautiful. It is the pinnacle of good ass 90s cell animation, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like it looks so damn pretty the whole time. And I really wish it had been given the chance to be feature length, like true feature length movie, 90 to 120 minutes. Probably 120 is kind of pushing it because that's 2 hours, but a 90-minute movie.
It needed an extra half hour.
Absolutely. It needed an extra half hour to really give it a chance to kind of breathe and to be kind of what it wanted to be, and have more fights. Like the dude, like the evil wizard dude, whatever the fuck his name is, he should have been like an actual like fighty villain instead of a guy who gets stepped on. And like stuff like that. You know, you could have really given this movie kind of a chance to be like really, really good. And instead, it's still good. It's one of the better Dragon Ball movies, maybe of the old ones, maybe my favorite one.
It's kind of good that the problem this movie has is that there isn't enough of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's just too compressed, and that's the only like real downside to it.
And that's really its biggest problem. So I think it's probably my favorite, just by virtue of looking as good as it does and having a lot of interesting concepts and trying to do something different. And just not really having the chance to do everything it wanted to do.
Most of it.
Yeah, just most of it. So yeah, it's pretty stellar. You should absolutely watch Wrath of the Dragon, if only to take in its incredible visuals. And watch for that post on Twitter eventually.
Yeah. So the next would be the 2 OVAs.
Okay.
So History of Trunks and Bardock, Father of Goku.
Yep.
Okay.
Which are, both of them are like
the best.
Some of the best content for Dragon Ball.
Period. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
History of Trunks is probably my favorite of the long Z thing. It is just really, really damn good. Like,
it should be noted that out of all of the things that got abridged, the History of Trunks is the only one that did not do much to change the tone.
No, yeah, it has no joke. It has
it was still very dark.
It's super dark the whole time. It has a couple little jokey jokes but they're all front loaded. All of the jokes are kind of at the very beginning of the movie. You know? And then it does a lot of really heavy shit at the end, and you're just kind of whoa, okay. I wasn't expecting to be this sad in my fucking Dragon Ball abridged thing, but you can't really make History of Trunks funny.
You really can't. It's some of the darkest, because everyone's dead.
Because everyone's dead, and the thing is that it does kind of one of the traumatizing things you can do to a young Dragon Ball Z fan, and kills Gohan on screen.
Yeah. The best Gohan, for that matter.
The best Gohan.
Oh, I love Future Gohan.
Future Gohan is the coolest fucking guy.
There was no Gohan better.
I like regular-ass Gohan, a lot, but Future Gohan is the coolest guy.
His gi looks so cool!
It's so cool, and the whole, the one-arm thing, and he's still fighting dudes, and he's got the cool facial scar after the theme park set piece. And he's got, a cool personality, and he just seems like the cool fucking guy. And he's, it's Gohan. It's the guy, Gohan has been, in up to this point in Dragon Ball Z, Gohan doesn't really, he gets one really traumatic thing, and it's when he gets his neck broken by Raccoon, right?
Right.
Which is pretty fucking traumatic. But otherwise, Gohan doesn't really get, the degree of almost killed that, the adult characters get, because he's a kid character, right? So we've really, attached ourselves to Gohan. Because he's kind of, not exactly the audience surrogate. That's really more Krillin. But Gohan is the character whose progression we follow the most from the beginning of Z to the end of Z. Or until the end of Cell Saga, and then we don't talk about the saga. But so then you have this character who you've kind of imprinted on because he's been growing with you as you watch DBZ, and then History of Trunks happens, and they kill him, and it's really traumatic, and it's a really, bad death, because he gets, ganged up on, and then he's left...
And he dies in a puddle!
He's left face down in a puddle, and it's really, it's incredibly dark. And that whole sequence, though, of Trunks finding him, that I'm going to talk about animation again, and I'm really sorry, because it's a podcast, that lighting is so good. There's a bit in Super where they tried to reanimate it, and I was like, don't
touch it, don't touch it.
Don't touch it, because they fucked up the lighting, they fucked up the color palette, it looks really bad, because most of Super, right? But that it's all purples with really stark, violent, bright red, emergency lights flashing.
Yeah.
And casting everything in this really, moody color. And there's nothing like it. And it looks so fucking good. I'm, obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with that scene.
Because that moment is, that moment definitely got a moment where, you can tell the animators watched a shit ton of Blade Runner to get just the right movie.
Yeah! It's so Blade Runner. Man, you're so right.
It's very interesting. History of Trunks is it's one of the best works ever, but it's one that I don't like to think about
because it's so sad.
Because it's so depressing and so
really depressing,
overbearing.
It is really, really... And now, mind you, there's still some weird, like, that Dragon Ball tone sometimes, where it's like these androids are killing everybody, but also we're at a theme park!
It's... Because, like, it's interesting because, like, in the manga, like, Trunks is like, yeah, we live underground in bunkers now.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And he's already a Super Saiyan, which is weird, but...
Yeah.
You know.
But it's like... I always thought it was weird. It's like, these androids are a known entity, and they're known for, like, just wiping out everything.
Right.
Why would you have a theme park?
Yeah, they mentioned that there's like the army is standing by nearby, like it's one of the only towns that's like guarded by the army. Like they mentioned that kind of explicitly. But at the same time,
why the theme park?
But why a theme park and like
the
army hasn't been able to do anything for the last like 16 years.
Why?
You know?
Why a theme park? And why aren't the androids' faces plastered on every available surface so that you don't get some like minimum wage chump like some disrespecting them?
Yeah.
Some 6-piece chicken McNugget.
Exactly. like some idiot who's like, "Ma'am, you can't skip to the front of the line." Yes, she can. You let her skip to the front of the line.
Yeah.
And you get everybody to fucking evacuate, like ASAP. Okay.
Like their faces should be everywhere. Every living soul should know what the androids look like, so they know to give the androids whatever they want,
and then pray in hope that makes them happy. Like, it's not great.
God, I love 17 and 18.
But 17 and 18 in this special are so good.
There is something very specifically like the future of Trunks and like the 5-second cameo that they have in Android 13, where they're animated in such a way that makes them very uncanny.
Well,
like you can see the other characters kind of move and breathe, and 17 and 18 are still and lifeless. It's super good.
I wonder how much of this was directing and how much of it was like inexperience in voicing the characters, because History of Trunks, especially compared to like the dub and Super, they're so much more robotic and like neutral in History of Trunks than they are in Super. And I don't know if that's because they're new to the characters.
At that point, Chuck Huber was pretty new to the voice acting scene, but...
But, and it's also, you would expect, like, these voices to differ after fucking, 20 years of voicing them?
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, there are clips of on YouTube where it's, like, comparing Vegeta in the early Funimation dub and, like, the redub, and then in Kai, and it's like, you can just watch Chris Sabat's voice get deeper and deeper.
And more, like, experienced and more comfortable with saying these, like, kind of corny-ass lines,
As time goes on, he gets more and more Mondo cool.
Yeah. But whatever the reason was, like, for History of Trunks, it works so well.
They sound so, like, they sound
fake.
It's that thing in Silent Hill 2. And I know that's a weird thing to compare to fucking Dragon Ball Z.
I know exactly what you mean, though.
You know what I'm about to say?
Yeah.
The voice acting in Silent Hill 2 is kind of bad, but the badness works in its favor because it makes all of these characters sound just a little off and a little off-putting.
It makes it so much more unsettling to experience that way.
Yeah. And because of it, they just stand out. They're talking and they're joking around in like these weird tones, but they're still making jokey jokes while doing really horrible things. So they come across as like really kind of fun and charming, and you're still like, oh shit, they're killing a bunch of people at the same time. Like they're monsters, and it's great.
I always thought like this movie's like. So they have, like, the little cutaway where it shows, like, Roshi and Oolong and Puar and Turtle in the sub, and it's like, that was meant to be, like, the sort of, like, little bit of comic relief of, like, Roshi's like, I'll fight the androids!
Right.
But, like, when I watched it as a kid, I'm like, that's not funny.
They're hiding out in the sub because they know they're gonna die.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah! Like, they just live all day in a submarine because they know the androids would come and kill them? And, like, all of their friends are dead? like everybody they know has died horribly. Like
the implication that Puar doesn't even have Yamcha anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sad when you think about it for more than like 15 seconds.
It's
depressing.
It's very sad, and like I said, like I don't like to dwell on History of Trunks.
It's so, but then like you think about all the like, there's a lot of really, really good stuff. Like one final thing, because they mentioned it as like a joke in the abridged version, but then I thought about it and they were right. So there's a line in the abridged version where Trunks is doing his voiceover and he says that his mom told him about the fights, but there was a lot more posturing. And I thought about it and I was like, that's what makes History of Trunks so good. There is no there's no attack calling, there's no like sitting around taunting each other. There's like the occasional little like smart alecky comment, but for the most part, the fights in History of Trunks are super brutal and like really visceral.
They're like violent guerrilla tactics and like legitimate martial arts stuff. I think that's one of the reasons why Gohan and future Trunks are so interesting, because they're essentially like they're like dirty fighters, and it comes across and it even shows up again. It like when future Trunks goes into the past, he's the only one who's like no nonsense, like I am killing something now. Yeah, it's because 17 and 18 as like primary villains are not like Vegeta, Frieza, and Cell, who are these posturing, arrogant, like Frieza's prone to his big speeches, and Cell has got this ego the size of a galaxy to him. That he's just like, yes, take your best shot.
Yeah.
And like 17 and 18, no, fuck that. They are here to have fun and to hurt people.
And that's like their fun is hurting people. That's the other thing, is that like for them, hurting people is like really, really fun. And they're not really here to fuck around. Like when they get sick of, the thing is that when they get sick of Gohan and when they finally decide like we're done toying with you, because they've been outwardly toying with him for the last, 16 years, which, again, is fucked up. But when 18 is like, I'm tired of him, I want him dead, they kill him. Yeah,
it's done and over with.
It's done and over with. They gang up on him. They use, really dirty tactics to fight him. They, and that's the thing that Trunks mentions when he comes back and he kills the androids, later. He's like, how do you think, Gohan felt when the two of you ganged up on him in the rain? With one arm. And it's it's kind of like the future of Trunks is fucked up, but it's also kind of like what you'd always want DBZ to be sometimes, where it's a little less goofy and more like a seinen series. Yeah,
History of Trunks is, if that tone were throughout the series, it would be a seinen for sure.
And it would be like a thing it's not like a, if you want nostalgia, go DBZ. It would be go watch DBZ for your anime history.
Yeah, it's the same thing with History of Trunks and with Bardock. Both of them
Bardock
together
is so good.
Are that they're tonally so separate from the rest of DBZ,
and it makes it so interesting. Oh my god.
So
yeah, Bardock is so good too.
Bardock's so fucking cool.
Bardock's so fucking cool.
I'm going to say that over and over again. Bardock's so fucking cool.
Bardock's so goddamn cool.
I wish more than anything that we got just a little bit more of what we got from Bardock. I wish there was an extra 10 minutes. That's all I wanted.
What I love though, I love that all the games and stuff push Bardock the way they do. I love that Xenoverse pushes Bardock.
Yeah, I like that Xenoverse is we acknowledge that Future Trunks and Bardock are the two coolest dudes in Dragon Ball. So that's who these games are about.
Yeah. The post game, for that matter, is literally you playing as Bardock and Future Gohan.
Yeah, it's so great.
I just the whole Bardock special is just, for one thing, I love that it makes no assumptions. Saiyans were dicks, and Frieza was probably right to wipe them out if you think about it. He probably had the right idea because they were monsters.
Oh no, they are the one thing that I really like about the Bardock special is that it really does not sugarcoat the fact that Bardock is our protagonist, But Bardock is not a hero. Bardock is a fucking monster.
The movie opens with them in the process of wiping out an entire species.
Yeah, love to commit some genocide. Like, holy shit, it is so... Like, I loved it. I loved that the special just kind of doesn't really sugarcoat the fact that Saiyans are huge bastards. That their entire, like, species is destructive and their culture is, like, really fucked up. And they get, again, it's like 17 and 18. They enjoy hurting people and they get stronger from it. And, you know, if Frieza hadn't wiped them out, they would have been, like, the biggest threat in the galaxy and they probably would have been unstoppable. And so, the special doesn't really hold back on it. It doesn't try to make Bardock look heroic at all. He's, like, loyal comrades, but that's different, you know?
Yeah.
And he gets the one of my favorite things, one of my favorite lines, maybe in like last night I heard it. It was my first time watching the Bardock special, was like last night. And there's one line that is so good that it's like at the top of the line, like the list of good ass lines in DBZ content now, and it's the Kanasan, and Bardock is hearing him in a vision, and he's like, you know, your son is going to stop monsters like Frieza and you.
Yeah, I love the idea of the Kanasan giving Bardock future vision as a punishment.
It's malicious. Yeah, you don't usually see that. Like, you'd think Frieza would be like, I want to. That's like, you know, that would be great to help you do what you need to do. But no, the Kanasans give Bardock future sight as a punishment for, like, slaughtering them. Because he's saying, like, hey, you can't change fate no matter what you do, and I'm going to make you, like, aware of it.
It's so good.
I'm going to show you how you bury yourself.
Yeah, that's it.
So dark and awesome.
The repeating line that echoes throughout, like, the Kanasan's narration.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
The whole, like, just constantly, like, and because usually, like, repeating lines in like shonen series, the repetition of lines is because you're feeding information to a younger audience who might not retain that information. And so sometimes it's like an assumption that your audience is an idiot, right?
Right.
The repeating line in the Bardock special is a motif thing instead.
Yeah.
And it's a good motif. That motif just kind of keeps repeating over and over again, saying, like, you know, what happened to us will happen to you, just over and over. And then it's like an artistic choice instead. And it was a really, really good one.
I loved it. I loved it.
I love the shot of Bardock. He's running to try to get to the top of the tower to go fight Frieza and have his last stand. But as he's going up the stairs, he rounds a corner and he's on Namek.
Yes!
That shot is so fucking good because it's such, like, they don't call attention to it immediately either. It's not like, whoa, where am I? It's like he rounds the corner, he's standing there and he's lost in thought, and then the audience has a few seconds to go, wait a second, this is Namek.
I recognize that green sky, like, and then it shows Goku and Frieza standing off, and it's like, that's so good.
Oh, it's so good. That's a really powerful, excellent, like, that's good editing right there.
I love, we'll get more into it when we talk about Xenoverse, but, like, I love that the Xenoverse 2 intro adds the rematch.
Yeah.
Adds the Super Saiyan Blue and Golden Frieza fight, like, adding to that, like, that makes it, like, so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's so... man, I love it.
Bardock's so fucking cool.
Bardock is an asshole, and he's still so fucking cool, and that special is so fucking good. Like, those two, the two specials, if we're gonna count them as movies, I know they're a little bit longer movies, and they played on TV instead of in the theaters, so they don't have cinematic quality animation. They have OVA quality animation, which is like a step above television quality. But they're still, I think, of the Dragon Ball extra content, it's the best. Those two are the best, like, hands down. I think History of Trunks is better. I know, Ben, you think that Bardock Special is better, which is fine because it's still really good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a coin toss. It really depends on the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel that though. That I mean, like they're both stellar, and it really just boils down to personal preference of like protagonist, you know?
Yeah, and for sure, and obviously we've joked about content than you.
Yeah.
And like even though the Bardock special ends in like a really fucked up way, it kind of has like a better ending, and it's not quite the same degree of dark that History of Trunks is. Like it's not the same kind of dark, even though it is still dark.
Mm-hmm.
So and I just really like History of Trunks, but I think they're both the best external DBZ content.
Right, for sure.
I mean, they're better than all of the movies. I like a lot of the movies, but those two things are way better than the movies.
It's for a number of reasons, but like the biggest being they have like a consistent plot all the way through, and
a really consistent tone.
They slot perfectly into like what we already have.
Yeah, the idea of making them both like side stories that do not feature the actual main protagonists and tell you the stories that don't get told in the manga, basically.
Yeah,
is what makes them stand out.
And the ones the stories you want to hear and know about. And again, there's a consistent tone, there's very consistent direction, there's really good directorial choices with the red lighting in that scene where Trunks fights Gohan, and the bit when Bardock finds himself back on Namek. Like those are directorial stylistic choices that elevate the specials to something really interesting and unique in the Dragon Ball world. And so that's kind of what makes them incredibly superior, even to like Fusion Reborn and Wrath of the Dragon, which I enjoy.
Right.
So yeah, they're great. They are genuinely great.
So we have two more to talk about. Wow.
Oh god,
there's a lot of movies.
Forever. We might have to do another episode. I mean, we could really devote like a whole. I could probably devote like another episode to Resurrection F and Battle of the Gods.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. I don't really have a lot to say. But he likes that movie. Kind of ambivalent toward it.
I think there's a lot I could say about like the effects that they both have for like basically reviving Dragon Ball, but I don't have much to say about them as films. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because like for the most part, like you can only say like they're good. They're
fun.
They are of a higher caliber than the Z movies for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot in like there's a lot in Battle of Gods and Resurrection F that I really like that are kind of like in response to the series as a whole. Like there's two bits I can talk about like specifically in Battle of the Gods. There's the fact that the Super Saiyan God transformation that Goku does not like, that he had to depend on someone else for it.
Right.
Which is like a really good like it's basically Goku stating what his character is like for like the people who have forgotten what Goku actually is like as a person, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And I like that Resurrection F reinvented Frieza as an actual threat because, you know, we talked about it in Fusion Reborn, and also in GT when the villains come back. Frieza was treated as like a joke, you know? He gets gut punched by Gohan and he's done in Fusion Reborn, you know?
Right.
The fact that Frieza comes back and like everyone is scared of him.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where like we've forgotten because like the stakes keep getting upped, but the only villains that were stronger than Frieza was a clone made out of Frieza's cells and Saiyan pieces. And an eldritch abomination that is older than time itself. And those are the only two things.
Those are the only two canon things because because DBZ is one of those weird like shonen series where like all of the like subsequent media, like video games and stuff, will just pull movie characters from their roster. And I don't know of any other major shonen that does that. Like I don't think any of like the Naruto or the Bleach or the One Piece like fighting games and stuff like they don't pull movie characters the way that DBZ does.
Sometimes they'll do movie costumes and that's it.
Right?
Yeah.
And you know, I my only problem with Battle of Gods and Resurrection F is that in comparison to, say, Wrath of the Dragon and Fusion Reborn, which are both really damn good, they feel really safe. They feel very kind of like, this is Dragon Ball Z. You know, it just kind of
they aren't exploring the field the way that like Wrath of the Dragon did.
And they don't do anything really interesting stylistically that Fusion Reborn did.
I really did like, I say this a lot, but I really did like the Goku versus Beerus fight through the city with 0 property damage whatsoever.
Yeah, that was really cool. I really enjoyed that fight. Like the fighting in the just really solid.
Yeah.
The direction and the choreography and the fighting is really, really solid. But I feel like plot-wise, it doesn't do anything really interesting. It feels very safe, and it kind of feels just kind of fun, which is fine. I mean, fun is totally fine. I have no problem with it. But,
safe, I think, is the best word for those two films.
It's very safe.
They're safe because it was Toei trying to reboot Dragon Ball for a new generation of fans. They succeeded, but they did kind of go a little lowest common denominator with them. And so...
Vegeta just kind of acted like he did before, like he learned his lesson with Boo.
Yeah, you know, he's still kind of fun. I love that's my scene because I'm a dirty fangirl who loves that pair. Until I die, you bury me in a shirt that says "I love Veggie Bowl."
I really do like the overall concept of Goku and Vegeta hanging out and sparring with Whis and Beerus.
Yeah, Whis and Beerus are the best.
Whis and Beerus are the best additions to Dragon Ball in like years.
Ever years. They are fun and they're enjoyable and they're just douchebags and I love them. They're great. So like, it's not saying that I dislike Battle of Gods and Resurrection F because I don't. When I was watching them, I was totally into it. I was having a really good time the whole time. But they just said they feel safe. They feel a little bit more kiddish.
They are designed. They are, like you said, they're designed to reintroduce people to Dragon Ball as a series.
It feels and this is on Twitter is thing. It feels like it was made for children because it's made for children.
Yeah.
It's definitely DBZ as made for babbies, and depending how you feel about that, that's fine. I don't know. But in general, I mean, they're fun. They're fine. They're good. The fighting in Resurrection F is really good.
I would love if they also did this for the Zamasu arc. If they made a movie adaptation of like the same quality as Resurrection F. If they did that for Zamasu, I would be so on board with that.
I would love a Goku Black arc movie to kind of condense things and to give it better animation because Goku Black arc is really great, but it's really weak.
I really liked that they reintroduced a bunch of characters for Resurrection F.
That's the best part of Resurrection F.
Roshi and Tien and Krillin got to do things.
They didn't get to just job like Tien. Yeah. I was shocked to see Tien. I was more shocked to see Tien than I was to see Roshi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, Roshi's been, a joke character the whole time.
Yeah, but Roshi's been, around, and, Tien, really dropped off for a while. And the fact that he is back, and he gets to really, show off. In this.
He gets to be really cool, and he fights, and he does really well. He has a cool new design that's really unique. It's not just a gi; it's a cool, Chinese, martial arts outfit, and I really dig it. And he gets to do interesting things. So that sequence of the not Gokus versus the 1,000 man army is really, really good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun.
Yeah, seeing them really work, showing off. Getting to reintroduce yourselves to these characters who you haven't seen in action for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Piccolo throwing his weighted clothing at some guy.
Yeah, and then punching him into another guy, which is awesome. Krillin using the Destructo Disc to drop a mountainside on a bunch of dudes was excellent. Those little things are great.
I also really did like that out of that group, before Goku and Vegeta showed up, that Gohan was the only one with hair.
Everybody else is bald. Yeah.
Even half of the Frieza Force, for that matter.
Yeah.
True. The only thing I did miss, and I understand why they didn't show it in Resurrection F, because it would just be adding more that necessary. But I did like that the super adaptation of it brought Ginyu back too. I thought that was hilarious.
It was really funny, but also it's really sad that they brought him back just to actually off him.
Yeah, just to put that nail in the coffin.
But leave Ginyu alone. He's just a weird frogman.
He just wanted to make Frieza happy.
Yeah.
Leave Leave Ginyu alone.
I did. I thought it was kind of like oddly sweet that Frieza was like genuinely happy to see Ginyu again.
I know.
Frieza's punishment in hell was hilarious.
Yes.
I liked that once again. It's fucking Emperor Pilaf's fault.
Of course. Oh, the only other thing that I really, really enjoyed in Resurrection F is the 1-inch punch.
The 1-inch punch, which is one of Goku Blue's moves in Fighters.
That's awesome. The 1-inch punch is so disrespectful, but
I love the way it's set up because like Vegeta like puts his fist against Frieza's stomach and Frieza's like he kind of stares at him like in confusion.
He's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then bam!
And then just bam! It's so good.
Disrespectful. I loved it. But yeah. Otherwise, that's kind of all I have to say about Resurrection.
Yeah. That fucking song is great. Maximum
the song is great. Yeah. How would you like to be the guy who brought back? How would you like to be the guy who wrote that song and got Frieza resurrected as a result?
Yeah.
You are now officially like a J-Rock god.
Imagine being the guy who writes the song that's so good that Stan Lee brings Bucky back to life.
Yeah, that's exactly what. Like, you are a god at that point.
I love that it's like, at first you're like, oh, that's cool. Toriyama wants to bring back Frieza, and they got Maximum the Hormone to write a song. No, the song came first. Toriyama loved it so much, he wanted to make more Frieza content.
Amazing. So, yeah.
What are we doing How are we doing time-wise?
Oh, we probably should end it soon. We should probably talk about Xenoverse and video games at the time.
We should, okay.
But we're at like the 2-hour mark.
Oh my god.
Whoops.
Yeah, oh man, I will talk about Xenoverse for an entire 2 hours then.
We could literally talk about Xenoverse and Dragon Ball.
Yeah, we could. We'll do a follow-up episode later.
No, we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to because
there's no option. Like we could. Sarah and I were like joking, and like part of me was like 30% serious, of like we could just do a Dragon Ball podcast.
We honest to God could do a Dragon Ball podcast, like a once a month, or twice a month, 30 minutes, like Dragon Ball podcast where we talk about certain things. Yeah, we could easily do. It. Like, no problem.
And like, we were joking, like we could do that, and like, there's like a portion, like a not insignificant portion that's like.
That's not a joke. We could. we might do. Maybe at some point we might do like a little mini series about
when we get off the recording, we'll probably talk about that.
Yeah, we might have to discuss that. We might, because I really probably could do like several episodes of talking just about the Android.
Yeah. No.
So instead of ending it with video game conversations, we are pushing the 2-hour mark right now. Instead, I want to do one last thing to kind of wrap this up.
Go for it.
Top 5 movies, go.
Ooh.
Do you want to go first, Othar, or
you can include the specials? I feel like you can include the specials, but in that case, you have to. So it's technically 6.
Okay. I know what they are, but I don't know the order. So just give me a second to kind of think about the order.
Okay.
How
about you, Oates?
Let's see.
Because I know mine pretty easily.
I'm just gonna leave out the specials because they would basically fill up like 3 slots somehow.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think I'll go with, let's say, World's Strongest, Wrath of Dragon, Tree of Might, Resurrection F, no, Battle of Gods, and then Resurrection F.
So Resurrection F is your favorite or your 5th?
5th, sorry.
Okay. So we're starting with your favorite and then working your way backward.
Okay. Favorite. It's okay. Okay, this is gonna be one of those things where it's kind of like what we did for like the top
Video
5.
games?
Yeah, the top 5 where it's like at this exact moment in time, so I don't have to like think about it too hard.
Right.
I'm gonna say my favorite. Oh God.
Come on, dude. Time's ticking. Just get it out.
At this moment, Resurrection F is my favorite.
Okay. That's acceptable. That's totally fine.
Resurrection F, BoJack.
Okay.
Cooler.
Okay.
God damn it, I forgot those two.
Tree of Might.
Okay.
Bardock Special.
So Bardock Special is your fifth favorite?
And then the sixth, I'm gonna say, is Fusion Reborn.
Acceptable. Okay. For me, it's History of Trunks is number 1. Number 2 is... right now, it's Wrath of the Dragon because of... No, right now, it's BoJack because BoJack is more complete. Number 3 is Wrath of the Dragon because it's good, but it needed more time to breathe. Number 4 is Fusion Reborn. And number 5 is Resurrection F.
Okay.
I think that's a good, because there's other movies that I like more than Resurrection F, but they're also really flawed. Resurrection F as a whole is just a really solid movie. So yeah. But and then honorable mention is obviously Bardock Special. But you can kind of put the specials together as like one thing, but History of Trunks for me is like is probably my favorite piece of DBZ content, just for how well rounded it is.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there you go. That's
wow.
It ended up being the Dragon Ball Z movie podcast instead. We might have to do a different title card than what.
I'll have to whip up a new one.
We might have to think of a different one. We should do. Oh, okay. No, I'm not gonna put it. Well, because if you're listening to it already, then you've seen the title card. What you should do is you should take the Fusion Reborn poster and then just put Janemba's face over everybody.
It'll be Fat Janemba. I'll do Fat Janemba over everybody.
On everybody.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. So that's my suggestion.
Okay, I'll probably do that then.
I think we're done.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, I love Dragon Ball Z. Shit. You motherfucker.
Fuck.
Thanks to we'll do Visager. We'll do Visager this week. Thanks to Visager for future background music. You can follow us on Twitter and yell at us about our shitty Dragon Ball opinions at the Gorge Podcast on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You can email us about our shitty opinions at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com. One of you needs to talk about your other podcast. I don't care which one of you does it right now.
Sarah, can you talk about it? Because I'm still reeling from what happened.
Oh boy, yeah, hell yeah, I can talk about it. Hey, me and Oath are in another podcast. It's called Big Gay Nerds. It's me, Oates, and a couple of other friends. We all get together, we sit around, we play tabletop RPGs. It's a lot of fun. Right now we're back at Monster Hearts. We're trying something new. Instead of switching around systems, for the next foreseeable future, we will be playing Monster Hearts until it is complete. So
wow.
It might be 2 months, it might be 6 months, who knows? But we are stuck in Monster Hearts now until it is done. So now is a great time for you to come check us out because we're trying something new. Our Monster Hearts story, I think, is really fun. We're at
big backlog, so you're gonna have a lot of fun.
Absolutely, that playlist is huge. So we're at Big Gay Nerds on SoundCloud, and you can find the links to all of our social media from. Thanks.
So that'll do it for us then.
Fuck Broly!
Man, fuck that Broly! Fuck Broly!
I've been waiting for that all day. Fuck that movie! I hate Broly! He sucks!
Basketball-sized shoulders.
His fucking shoulders and his shitty-ass design.
Man, I had...
about him his key manipulation.
So I have a Broly action figure, or I had back in the day. He's one of the ones with, like, the detachable arms, and boy howdy does he look funny without his giant arm.
Broly skipped leg day.
Yeah.
Fuck Broly.
Fuck
Good
Broly.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.